The first time she heard the words, they cut deeper than she could have imagined. Sitting across from him in a crowded cafe, her coffee growing cold in front of her, she listened as he said with casual conviction, "Men don't like single moms." Every fiber of her being tensed. It wasn't just the words themselves, but the weight behind them, the kind of statement that carried judgment and doubt and a world of assumptions about her life, her worth, her future. She forced herself to breathe, to sit upright, to smile politely, but inside, a storm raged. She had spent years hiding her heart behind strength, carving out a life for herself and her daughter that was messy, exhausting, and full of sacrifices that no one ever thanked her for. And here, in one careless sentence, all of that hard-earned resilience seemed invisible. Before we dive deeper into this story, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the idea that love can surprise us when we least expect it, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Every gesture of support helps more than you know. Her name was Emma, a woman who had learned to navigate life with a grace that often disguised the loneliness and fear she carried. She was 32, with soft chestnut hair that always seemed to escape into gentle waves around her tired eyes, and a heart that had been stretched to its limits by responsibilities and heartbreak. Her daughter, Lily, was 6, with a laugh that could melt the hardest of days, and a curiosity that demanded Emma's constant attention. Raising a child alone meant there were no breaks, no easy nights, no casual dates that didn't require planning a babysitter months in advance. Emma had long accepted that love for herself might have to wait, that the idea of finding someone who could embrace both her and Lily might be a dream too fragile to chase. The man in the cafe, Daniel, was different from anyone she had met before. He was successful, kind-eyed, and patient in ways that seemed almost unreal. She had been drawn to him for months, enjoying the quiet comfort of his presence, the way his smile seemed to reach his eyes, and the subtle, unspoken understanding he seemed to offer. Yet in that moment, when he dismissed her life as complicated and undesirable, she felt a weight descend upon her chest that made her struggle to speak. Emma wanted to explain, to show him the beauty of her world, the laughter-filled mornings, the bedtime stories, the little victories that defined her days. But the words stuck. She felt exposed and misunderstood, and for the first time, she wondered if she had been foolish to believe someone like Daniel could ever truly accept her life. Her mind drifted back to the early days after Lily's birth. The hospital room smelled faintly of antiseptic, and the tiny bundle in her arms had smelled like heaven itself. But the joy was mingled with fear of failing, fear of loneliness, and the fear of a society that seemed ready to judge a woman who dared to raise a child alone. She remembered the endless nights, the sleepless hours spent rocking Lily back to sleep, the guilt that gnawed at her when she took a rare moment for herself. Friends had vanished, relationships had ended abruptly, and every romantic encounter had ended the same way, with polite distance once her status as a single mother came to light. She had learned to be careful with her heart, to protect it from the sting of disappointment that always seemed just around the corner. Daniel's words, however, didn't just sting, they ignited something within her. Emma realized that this wasn't about judgment. It was about perception, assumptions, and the quiet, invisible pain of being underestimated. She decided, even as tears threatened to spill, that she wouldn't crumble. She wouldn't allow someone else's fears to dictate her worth. The world had already taught her to fight, to stand strong, to love fiercely, and she would not stop now. And as she looked into Daniel's eyes, she saw not cruelty, but a certain vulnerability, a hesitation, a battle being fought quietly within him. Perhaps, she thought, he had never really understood what it meant to love beyond convenience, to embrace a life that required courage, patience, and heart. Over the next few weeks, Emma began to notice the small shifts. Daniel didn't retreat. He didn't disappear as others had. Instead, he lingered, asking questions, showing interest, and slowly, almost imperceptibly, beginning to see the woman behind the label of single mom. He arrived early to pick Lily up from school, and he laughed with her over silly jokes, his eyes softening as he watched her small hand curl around his finger. Emma noticed the changes in herself, too. The walls she had carefully constructed around her heart began to tremble. The armor she wore so tightly began to loosen. She allowed herself small moments of hope, though always cautiously, knowing that reality had a way of reminding her of its harsh edges. It wasn't a smooth journey. There were nights when Emma felt the weight of uncertainty pressing down on her, when she questioned whether she was inviting heartbreak into a life that had already known too much struggle. She worried about judgment from strangers, from friends, from family who had long whispered doubts about her ability to balance love and motherhood. And yet, Daniel remained patient and persistent, never demanding, always present. He didn't view Lily as a complication, nor did he expect Emma to change who she was. He simply saw them, fully, and allowed himself to fall in love with the rhythm of their life, the depth of their bonds, the messy, imperfect, beautiful reality that was Emma's world. The day came when Emma realized something profound. They were sitting on the living room floor, surrounded by scattered storybooks and the faint smell of cookies she had baked earlier. Lily was perched on Daniel's lap, giggling uncontrollably as he made silly faces, and Emma watched them together. In that moment, the sting of judgment from that cafe seemed like a distant memory. She felt a warmth spread through her chest, a certainty that this was more than chance, more than luck. It was recognition, acceptance, and unconditional love in its most honest form. Daniel, who had once feared the complexity of her life, now embraced it with open arms. Her heart, once cautious and guarded, surrendered not to perfection, but to authenticity. It wasn't long before Emma found herself sharing pieces of her life she had long hidden, stories of hardship, nights of doubt, and the little victories that had kept her going. And Daniel listened, not with pity, but with admiration, respect, and deep care. He acknowledged the challenges without dismissing them, celebrated the joys without taking them for granted, and quietly demonstrated that love was not about convenience, but about choice, courage, and commitment. The transformation was subtle, yet profound. Emma realized that true connection was not about avoiding complications, but about embracing them, about seeing beauty in the realities others often overlooked. As the months passed, their bond grew stronger, tested by the ordinary trials of life, yet resilient in ways that surprised them both. Emma began to understand that love didn't have to fit into neat boxes, didn't have to conform to expectations or societal norms. It could be messy, chaotic, overwhelming, and still, astonishingly, perfect. Daniel's patience, his unwavering presence, and his willingness to see them fully allowed her to believe in the possibility of joy she had once thought impossible. Together, they built a life that wasn't flawless, but was deeply human, rooted in understanding, and rich with shared experiences, laughter, and quiet moments of intimacy. And then came the evening that changed everything. Emma stood at the edge of the small backyard, Lily asleep inside, and Daniel knelt before her, holding her hands with a seriousness that made her heart skip. There were no grand declarations, no dramatic gestures, just honesty, vulnerability, and a promise that encompassed everything. In that moment, the walls around Emma's heart fell completely away, replaced by the realization that love had found them in the most unexpected, beautiful way. The fears, the judgments, the lonely nights, they all seemed distant, irrelevant in the face of the connection they now shared. Emma felt tears slip down her cheeks, not of sorrow, but of gratitude, relief, and the quiet wonder of being truly seen and accepted. If this story has touched your heart even a little, please engage with this video, like, comment, and share it with someone who might need a reminder that love doesn't follow rules, and second chances can arrive when we least expect them. And before you leave, I'd love it if you could comment below what part of Emma and Daniel's journey resonated with you the most. Your thoughts mean the world. Emma and Daniel's story is a testament to resilience, hope, and the quiet power of love that defies expectations. Life can be complicated, messy, and unpredictable, but when someone chooses to see us fully, without judgment, the world suddenly feels bigger, brighter, and infinitely more beautiful. Through judgment, doubt, and the harsh whispers of society, Emma had learned a profound truth. Love isn't about perfection, it's about acceptance, courage, and the willingness to embrace life's imperfections wholeheartedly. And in that embrace, she found not only love, but a family, a home, and the peace that had once seemed impossible to imagine.